So when you're making the transition from office, corporate life to something else, maybe working for yourself or going back to school, becoming some kind of an artist, there are some very bad habits that are going to be necessary to break if you want to make it work. A lot of my clients have quit their job, they've left the corporate world, and they are determined to work for themselves. And there are some bad habits that I help them shed. And in this video, I want to share 5 of the really bad habits and mindsets that you're likely to pick up in the wrong corporate environment. Number 1 is the habit of multitasking and being always on and always available. Most people at a corporate office, remember the time of BlackBerries? That's what started it all, of being always connected, always on the go. Hey, I'm a great multitasker. I can do so much. Now, you might have noticed at the beginning of the video, I said the wrong corporate environment. Peter Drucker, who wrote about being an effective executive decades ago, way before smartphones, described the effective executive as someone who focuses on 1, maybe 2 at most important tasks each day and sets aside large blocks of uninterrupted time to get those things done. So this is not a new concept, and effective executives tend to do this. But I'm fairly sure that's not the case in 99% of corporate employees. One thing you'll find if you start working for yourself is the key to success is uninterrupted blocks of time where you can build significant things, where you can create systems or finish projects or think through an effective strategy. It is not doing a million things at once and being always on. Number 2 is corporate speak or robot speak. Speaking like a non-human with no values or personality. I cannot believe how many people come from the corporate world and cannot just communicate basic things human to human. If you have been in, well, this is even worse. If you've been in academia, we need to have like a 6-month detox program where you learn to be human again and break those habits. If you want to do well in business, learn to speak like humans speak. Be clear, be succinct, be direct, and maybe even occasionally have an opinion and a bit of humor. That'll get you off to a good start. Next up, a huge mistake I see people making coming from the corporate world is misbalancing life priorities. I can't even fathom sometimes. You hear people tell stories where it's like, oh, I was madly in love with her and we were this great fit, but her job was in Pittsburgh and my job was in Miami. So get a different job. Really? Is that the most important thing in your life? Not your life partner? Just where you happen to work? Not your life partner, but your job? And these weren't even jobs where it was like, oh yeah, but we were saving lives. Like we were innovating a new surgery to transplant hearts. It was like, I was doing accounting work and then my job was... Don't do that. That's terrible. We get our priorities messed up. And here's why that's really important, aside from like your soul and life fulfillment and all that sort of stuff, where I think you might want to check on your priorities, is that if you want to succeed working for yourself, you need to have that balance. If I don't spend enough time with friends and people I care about, I get out of whack at work. It's really important to have great life balance in terms of health and diet and time off and long walks and time with friends and all this stuff in order to do great in your own business. This, in a lot of companies, is still not the standard, and I don't know why. I'm not going to really try to guess. But if you're working for yourself, you'll find very quickly you need to find a balance. You need to find better priorities. And when you're at your best and you're happier, you'll actually get a lot more done and be a lot more successful. Number 4, this corporate mindset could be really messing you up, is the belief that more is more. More hours is more. More tasks is more. The more you can do, the more successful you'll be. This is behind such productivity systems as getting things done. It's based on having an insane amount of things to do. I like another approach. I like to minimize what I do and focus on really important things. What you will find is a lot of very successful entrepreneurs work less and do less, but they spend a lot of time and energy on what's really important and doing that well. And don't get caught up in the busy work and measuring themselves by how many hours they put in or how many things they get done. Now, this isn't to say that there aren't a lot of high achiever entrepreneurs and people with a lot of drives. I have a good friend here in Prague who has 5 YouTube channels, maybe 6 since we last caught up last week. He starts a new channel, it seems, every week. He's got something like 5 million subscribers, and he outputs a ton of work and works a lot of hours, and it works really well for him. So you may want to do a lot, but again, even in the case of someone like him, is he is very focused and his activities and time is spent on what's really important. So what you may find is you simplify what you do in your working hours and you focus on the things that generate the most value and get you the best results. And then you end up like writing 12 hours a day or filming videos or doing whatever you do well for long days just because you enjoy it and you're getting so much out of it. But ultimately, it's not about counting how much you've done as your badge of honor. And the last bad habit you might pick up from the corporate world is a need for external pressure to get things done. It's amazing how productive people can be at jobs they don't really like when there is that external pressure and threat always present. And when you switch over to working for yourself, you will need to find ways to manage and get more done without external pressure. Now, one of these strategies can be creating pressure for yourself through things like deadlines, goals, public announcements, and that. You will want to create some pressure for yourself. But if your motivation is always coming from fear, like if I don't get this done, I'll be fired, I have to do this just because this person says so, it may take some time to transition from at least a little bit more intrinsic motivation rather than just all that extrinsic motivation that was driving you with fear and stress for so very long. Now, if you are in a spot where you're thinking about making the transition from corporate life to working for yourself, or you already have and are somewhere in that transition phase, I encourage you to check out a free training I have. I'll pop a link to it up in a card and below. One of the things I do best is help people transition from a job to working for themselves and deal with the mindset issues that come up when you're going from all this external pressure and support to working for yourself, to being the captain of your own ship. How do you set up your days and be productive? How do you stay focused? How do you deal with fear, friends, family, all these new things that can weigh on you and ultimately have a big impact on whether or not you succeed. So I would definitely encourage you to check out that free training. As always, I am Dan, this is Dreams Around the World, and my mission here is to help you become the best version of yourself, all while creating the most awesome life possible for you and those you love. So if you're new here, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, and I will catch you in the next video soon. Ciao.